So one of the interesting aspects of my job is I'm the one who gets the call for our 19,000 corporate clients at Raymond when there's trouble. And it's not always super satisfying to be the firefighter. You have to run towards that trouble, but you do get the chance to see what we call spilled milk. Um, these sorts of decisions that you make where once the milk is spilled, you don't really put it back in the bottle. It's too late. And so I'm thinking about kind of those top couple of things. One of the biggest things is not paying attention to cash flow. When there's an insolvency, when there's trouble, one of the first things that banks always want to see, creditors always want to see is a 13-week projection on what's going to happen with cash. It's a little different than income, right? It's not necessarily income. It's actually what does cash flow look like? What is the cash coming in versus the cash going out? And the firms that never have to call me are the ones that do that before they get in trouble. So that top thing that I would say is those firms that don't proactively look at cash and manage cash and stay out of cash problems, that's the number one thing. There's absolutely nothing worse than when I get a call saying, I think I've got trouble. And I say, why? And they say, well, I couldn't make payroll or my payroll checks are bouncing. That's a clue we call in the industry. A second one is not paying attention to the people. Increasingly, and maybe it's always been true, but increasingly in this day and age, the people resources are probably the most valuable. Um, whether it's the creative people, whether it's the people with the ability to actually make things, whether it's the people with the networks to go out and connect with clients and customers and referral sources. Not paying attention to people is really important, or is really a huge impact that we see, where you have sometimes just a couple of key people who feel jilted, and then you intersect not paying close attention to people with this kind of labor market where opportunity is everywhere and there's a real scarcity of good people, and it creates trouble, and sometimes it's not trouble that's recoverable. The cost to replace people just in terms of new salaries is high, but what we call the institutional knowledge that's lost when people leave, it's just sometimes it takes 3 to 5 years for a new person, even a really superstar new person, to be able to get back where someone was with the institutional knowledge. We laugh about it, but even knowing where the bathrooms are is sometimes something that takes a while for everybody to figure out. The last thing that I'd say is not looking down the road at what's going to happen. As we think about what's coming, sometimes the dates move around a little bit. But for example, if you're in the automotive industry right now, we know that to some extent, green energy is going to impact the automotive industry. We already see it. There's already electric vehicles being made. Are they going to completely supplant gasoline? Probably not. But is the gasoline market going to shrink and the electric market going to grow? Absolutely. And so if you have all your chips in the gasoline market, you know that market's going to decline. You're either going to have to fight for market share from other people, or you're simply going to have less revenue. And so looking forward at that, how far out is that? Is that a year? Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? Hard to say for sure, but if you're in that industry, as an example, not looking forward and not proactively taking steps means sooner or later you're going to be the one on the outside looking at.